And the
在没有
next
得到
part
菩提之前，没
is
有获得菩提之前的话呢，他也会有骷髅转为道用的。什么样呢？就是
talking
入这个
about
草
the
芥的
Buddha,
草
the
芥一般
Buddha's
这个摄
experience
起
as
了这个
well.
专轮王的过程。
Here are
当
some
时他的这个
illustrations
专轮
from the
王的
life
话呢，
of the
有
Buddha
几种不
before
同
he
的，
attained
他是这
enlightenment.
个
He abandoned
大
the
势力专
kingdom
轮王，也就
of
是说，
universal monarch
其实
as
他的
if
当
it
时的
were
那个净饭
straw.
王的过程的话呢，也不算真正的专轮王，但是它是一种，可能名称上的一
There
个专轮
are
王吧。就是
different
他
kinds
本来也是
of
他如果没有入
universal
佛的话
monarch.
呢，
In
就是也
fact,
变成专轮王，
over
也有这
here,
样的这个像是对他的
that
抒情嘛。
over
那
here
么
it
佛陀当
describes
时
Buddha
呢，
also
就
as a
乐专为道
universal
用的话呢，
monarch.
就是把这个国政啊，就是这个国家的王位的话呢，就是像那个草芥一般的话呢，
And in
就是
order
都
to transform
摄起
happiness
去，然
into
后就
enlightenment,
然后这
the
是
Buddha give up
乐专为
that
道用。
heavenly
枯专为道用的
enjoyable
话呢，就
life
是在
just
尼两
as if
河
it
畔呢，
was
就是
just a
受
straw
了这个6年的苦
without
行啊，就是
any
一滴水啊，一粒
hesitance.
米啊，
That
就是
is
这样享受这
transforming
个诸
happiness
法。
into
那结果
enlightenment.
呢，就是真无
So
自
he
利
lived
这种
by the
干扰
river
啊，就是诸法的空性。
Niranjana without a
这
care
宣所
for
应该
the
可能这
harshness
宣所
of
要跟前面。
the
那么这宣所呢，
austerities
什么呢？
he
就是
was
苦乐
practicing.
苦和乐呢，就是彼人平等一味的道理。这是
What he
佛陀
showed
在
was
那
that
个
in
没有
order to
没有
accomplish
成
our
道
own
之前的话
ultimate
呢，就是实际上我们
benefit,
也
the
是可以，
nectar
我
of
们也是现在
realization,
就是
we
我
must
们
have
可能有些
mastered
道友也
the
是
one
学
taste
着
of
以前的
happiness
什么
and
地位
suffer.
啊、财富啊，很多都放弃了，就是学
I
佛
think
很不容易
before
的，就是应该是这是也是你的
many of
乐
our
专为道用
practitioners
吧。
sitting
然后
over
苦
here,
专为道用呢，
they
在某个
also
地方
give
呢，
up
就是
a
然后
lots of their
就
fame and
是
social
在那
status
个
and
就什
all
么
of
闭关
that.
也好，
So
修
it
行
is
也
not
好，每
easy
天
to
都是
become a
自
genuine
己剃须
practitioner.
啊，自己炒
This
菜
is
啊，自
your
己
way of
这也
transforming
是苦
happiness
专为
into
道用的。虽
enlightenment.
然没有像佛陀一样一天吃一粒
Suffering
米，
into
就是有些
enlightenment
吃的可
is
能还
that
多一
when
点，
you
就
are
一
in
大
a
碗，就
secluded
是
area,
3
in a
顿饭，
retreat
是不
and
是？然后
practicing, you have to fetch water for
但是
yourself,
呢，还
cook
算
for
是这
yourself.
个
Well, it
也
is
不是
not
像世
as
间一样，就
suffering
是每
as
天都
how
是
Buddha
说这
eat
个
only 1 grain of
就
rice
是
every day.
怎么讲啊，
You
就
probably
是
eat a
就每
lot,
天都
well, a bit more than
就浪
a
费时
grain
间，
of
就没有这
rice.
样
You
的话，
probably
就这
eat
也
a
是
whole
没
bowl
有
of
成道之
grains
前
of
的一个
rice
苦乐
and
专
3
为道
meals
用
and
的
so
方
on.
法。
But
然后
still,
得到
that
这个
compared to the
真的
worldly
菩
life
提以后的
nowadays,
话呢，也有这个
this
苦和乐
could be
专为道
considered
用的
as
这
austerity.
情况。那么，首
Then
先呢，就
after
是
he
说到了
attained
来自色究
enlightenment,
竟天的这
the
些天
chiefs
王也
of
好，我
humans
们这个人
and
世间的
gods,
国
as
王
far
达
as
成
the
人
highest
君的话
realms,
呢，就是都
showed
敬拜
him
他，
the
而
greatest
且一切安乐
reverence,
呢，就是自居供养称是，就是这个是乐专为道用
placing
吧。
their
就是
feet
那么
on
佛陀
crown
呢，就
of
是说
their
到了
heads
所有
and
的人世间的
offering to
天
serve
界
the
的
honor
就是
with
这
him
些
with all
这
manner
个
of
君王镜
delights.
像，就是他们的这个供养和恭敬和定力，就是这是乐专
So
为
this
道用。
is again
另一方面的
transforming
话呢，佛
happiness
陀也
into
是造到了
enlightenment.
这个婆罗门
On
拉
the other
就
hand,
拉格
a
达，就是
Brahmin
他的
called
这个拜拜的这个侮辱就辱骂。还有呢，就
Bharadvaja
是婆罗门女，就是
abused
叫
him
做
and
这个占
criticized
他，就是
him
他叫堕色，他的这个燃心的
with
加以诽谤。
hundreds of
还有呢，
times.
就是或是国王境内呢，就是3个月当中，就是吃腐烂的这个
He was
就是
accused
青稞麻
of
青稞麻
sexual
药啊，就是
misconduct
就
with
我们说的
an
麻麦
imputed with
等
an
等，就是这个呢，
impudent daughter
就
of
是应
another
该是在
Brahmin.
佛陀成就
He
一
lived
合
off
的
rotten
乐专为
horse
道用
fodder
吧，
for
就后
3
面的
months
部分呢，
in
就
the
是乐
land
专
of
苦专为
King
道用。但佛陀呢，就是
Agnidatta
并
and
没
so
有
on.
变得高下起伏，
But he
而
remained
如
without
须弥山一
slightest
样，就是不为暴风所吹动啊，
fluctuation in his
一般
mind,
这
neither
个就是
elated
不会暴风
nor
风所吹
downcast
动
like
而安
Mount
住，就
Meru
像这
and
个须弥
shaken
山
by
不
the
会风
wind.
吹动一样的，
Just
就是
like
佛陀
how
也是
the
不会
Mount
被这些
Meru
战
will
会呢，
not
就是
be
就这
wavered
个
by
就动摇啊，就
breeze
平等呢，
and
就是利益众
ghastly
生。
wind. The
所以这
Buddha
个
was
前面呢，
not
就是我
wavered
就前面就比较好懂
by
了，就是这个就
any of
就不
those
用讲，那
adversities.
个就是真悟之前的话呢，就是大家也知道，就是佛陀的传记当中的话
I
呢，
think I don't
确
have
实
to
也是
elaborate
苦
too
专为
much
道
on
用和乐
this.
专为
You
道用都
probably
有。
already
真的
know
菩
how
提以后的
Buddha
话呢，就是
practiced
从供养方面和恭敬
according
听
to
待方面，就是
the
大家也清
biography.
楚。然后从那个苦专为道用方面的话，佛陀
In
造到了
terms
这
of
个婆罗门啊，就
transforming
是拉德
happiness
斯，
into
他的
enlightenment,
像大智度论里面就是讲的这个婆罗门的
give
话呢，
up
就是特
all
别坏，
the
就是刚开始的话呢，
luxurious
他就
lifestyle
照 到那个500个世
in
这个
terms
500个
of
世那就是好像我们
transforming
光照当中
suffering
也
into
是有
enlightenment,
天天的自己通
the
过各种方
Brahmin
式来诋毁这个佛陀
Bharadvaja
就是
was
然而佛陀
very
的话呢就
vicious.
是也
He
没有
at
这
first
个
used
隐藏，因
500
为他才
types
是
of
传人
ways to
然后后
slander
来
the
的话
Buddha,
呢，就是
but
他
the
有
Buddha did
有
not
转变一种这个方法，就是他
generate
就用
even
500个这
a
个事呢，就
single
是继续
bit
赞叹，
of
就是各种
anger or aggression. And then the Brahmin changed his method and used the 500 ways of compliment and praising the Buddha, and the Buddha did not generate even the slightest of greed or happiness. So we're not really at the state of the Buddha, of course. When people praise you, at least try not to pay too much attention. And if people slander you, especially nowadays we're using internet so much, then do not pay too much attention to that. For the wise ones, they don't believe in other people's words very easily. When people praise them, they would think, well, maybe that's not true. It's hard to say if the other person, if I do have this kind of merit, if other people slander him, then he would think that, well, this is probably for other purposes, or that person has some different agenda. So I think people should think in this way. In fact, nowadays, because of internet, if you have if you make a little bit of comment on it, there are thousands and thousands of people would slander you. And if your opinion fits into people's mentality or their dualistic mind, then there are a lot of people will praise you. But those are not of any intrinsic meaning at all, so you should not pay too much attention to it. There was a story of the Brahmin woman. Once she was at a place where Buddha was giving teaching, and within a crowd, the Brahmin woman, who's not a practitioner, not a follower of the Buddha, put a wooden basket underneath her clothing on her belly, and in front of everyone in the crowd, and she said that Buddha had sexual misconduct with me, and now I am pregnant. And after talking so much, even the Indra couldn't suffer any longer from her lying and from her lies. And he then transformed himself into a little mouse and got into his clothing and chewed off the rope that held up the basket to her belly, and then the basket fell down, and everybody saw that she was not pregnant, she was just lying. In the extensive biography, there were a lot of stories like that about slandering the Buddha. There are some more stories in the Sacred Sutra of Great Skillful Means, so you can read it whenever you have some time. And there's a story in that sutra. It talks about a king. I think his name means the fire bestowing or fire offering king. It is also included in the Vinaya Sutra. So the story goes, as the Buddha was invited by lots of kings in the neighboring kingdom, and then this fire offering king felt that if he doesn't invite the Buddha, then he's losing face in front of the other kings. Therefore, he did. He invited the 500 disciples as well as the Buddha to enjoy the feast for 3 months, to accept the offering for 3 months. And after the king got back to his... at the same time, the king gives the order to all the citizens in the kingdom, said that since I am the only one who's going to make offering to the Buddha and the Sangha, no one else could, otherwise I'm going to kill you. And then nobody could, and nobody dared to make such offering then. At that night, after he gave the order to all of his citizens, he dreamt that everything is covered by a white veil, and then he asked someone who knows to decipher dreams. And the dream, and then the person who deciphered dreams, also a Brahmin, says that to offer the Buddha is in fact quite auspicious. But maybe because the Brahmins from different religions, so he didn't want to tell the king that. Therefore, he told the king that the complete opposite, saying that you should not order the Buddha, otherwise you won't be able to live after 3 months, or even you could lose your kingdom. So the king was really worried and started to retreat, and he then hid in a retreat. So when the Buddha came with the 500 disciples, 500 Sangha members, the palace did not make offering, nor did the citizens. So nobody had meal, and at that time it was summer retreat time. Nobody was supposed to travel anymore, so all of them were trapped in that country where they cannot beg for alms at all. But there was a foreigner who arrived in the country. He has 500 fine horses and lots of horse fodder, and he had lots of faith to the Buddha. So during that summer retreat, he then offered lots of the horse fodders that was not finished by the horses to the Buddha and the Sangha. He didn't offer the best fodder, but offered the ones that's rather quite rotten. When we went to India, Namdrolling Institute, when I was traveling with Pontsog Rinpoche, we brought lots of Tibetan barley, but after a long time the barley all went molding, so we had to throw it away. So we had to throw it away, and then Kenpo said that, oh, it's too bad that we have to throw away such fine barley that's grown on the snowy land of Tibet, and now we're throwing it away just like throwing away dirt. Okay, I will stop this story, otherwise it's too much story. Anyhow, let's get back to the fodder. So the horse fodder, they were all of the Sangha and the Buddha were all eating the horse fodder. At the time, Muddagalayana as well as Shariputra, they went to the tip of the mountain and received offering from Indra. But I think Muddagalayana has rheumatism. Anyhow, the only two of them received offering from the Indra, but Buddha didn't. The rest of the Sangha didn't spend a very good summer retreat that lasted for 3 months. Then Ananda felt that, well, Buddha had already attained full enlightenment. Why does he still eat such rotten food? Then, after knowing that the Buddha shared some of his horse fodder in the bowl with Ananda, and Ananda felt it was the most delicious thing he ever tasted, and thought that, oh, so the realization of the Buddha is indeed very different than ours. In the sutra it says that it also because of the previous karma of the Buddha. When he slandered the Shramana, said that such shameless Shramana should only eat the horse fodder. With such kind of previous karma, he then Buddha in this lifetime also had to eat horse fodder with them. So there are stories like that. Also, there are many different stories about how Buddha transformed suffering and happiness into enlightenment, such as the Buddha did not get arrogant at all with the praise from celestial beings, or did not get afraid with different suffering and pain, and the Buddha was in fact in a state of equanimity without moving at all, just like Mount Sumu. Sumeru
最后的
mountain.
这个梦善，也就是说后面的这个
benefiting session beings
魔
with
位的
great
这些教言的话呢，
equanimity.
这
And
样
then
的教言
next
呢，
one,
你当
let's
时
go
应
to
该具
the
有这个
conclusion
不
part
舍
where it talks about
不所恶于乐
a
事
teaching
常
like
以厌
this should
离
really be
境界
taught
的嘎当
by
大
the
胆的来
Kadampa
传
masters
讲。其实
whose
方面的这
very
些这个
lives
骷髅专为道用的
enacted
这样
in
的
their
修行的
saying
教言的话呢，
no
很多的这种嘎
complaints
当
when
派的
there's
大德们呢，
suffering,
就是
great
他是有这
renunciation
种
when
境
there's
界的。他们
happiness.
有什么境界呢？
Great
或者是呢，就
Kadampa
是不会
masters
就
have
是
such
叫
kind of
苦念，天哪，
realization
我好
where
痛苦啊，我
they
好
won't
伤心啊，
complain,
就
saying
各
that
什
oh,
么
I'm
样的人
suffering
都
so
是这
much,
样，我
I'm
心情不
in
好，
such a
我
bad
最近这
mood,
个家里出
things
事
happen at
了，
my home,
我
my
最近这个
my
房子漏
roof
水
started
啊，
leaking, and
我
I
这
don't
个
want to
最近
go
不敢
out,
出门
I'm too
啊，
terrified to go
我
out,
最近这个消化
my
不好
digestion's
啊，
not so
我
good,
最近
I've
的
been
话呢，
having
就是这个
bad
做梦
dreams,
就是天
nightmares
天都
every
是做
single
噩
day.
梦啊，
I
我
probably
最近
eat
呢就
things
是好像
that's
吃
too
的太辣
spicy,
了，
too
太咸了，
savory,
太
too
腻了，
oily,
就是
and
就心
I'm
情不
not
舒
keeping
服
up
啊，等等等，就
with
是
my
反正
good
或者是
health.
我们凡夫
So
会经常做一些不
mundane
好的
beings
这
would
个
do
事
that,
情
isn't
呢，
it?
到处
Mundane
都
beings
去
would
去
go
说
around
就
and
是这样的。
complain about
但一
their
般就是
situation
嘎当
every
派的那
day
些修
and all
行，
the
当
time.
破的时
But
候
the
呢，这些恶语
Kadampa
呢就不会
practitioners,
往外传
they
出的。
don't
然后
spread
当
any
他
of
这个
this
乐的时候呢，
complaining
我们快乐
and
的时候可
whining
能也受不了了，
language
就是
when
就
they're
傲慢
suffering.
呐，就是
And
担
when
什么跟前面讲的懒惰啊，
when
就这些。
experiencing
但这些大
happiness,
德们
we
的话
would
呢，
get
乐的时候呢，
arrogant and
他也
lazy.
觉得是
But the
一切
great
万法，
masters,
一
they
切轮回
won't
的
do
法
that
呢，
at
就是没
all.
有什么可
When they're
困了的，
happy,
就是
they
更
know
加
that
就是
there's
甚
nothing
那
to
个
be
强烈
happy
的厌离
about
心，
in
对整个
this
三界轮回
in
就
this
是
world.
犹如草芥般的
Not
这种快乐
only
都
they
不
feel
存
there's
在，就是我们怎
nothing
么也还有
happy
探证的，
about
就是让
all
就
phenomena,
所
they
以这
would
些大德
generate
们的话呢，
great
哭的时候也
renunciation.
不会那么
They
的
don't
这种
have
脆弱，
even
乐的时候呢，就是不会那么的这
a
种
grain, they
这
don't
个
even
乐
have
滋滋
a,
的，滋滋的
a
这
mustard
种
seed
这种
sized of
梅子子，
grasping
对，梅
towards
子
the
子，
three realms.
还有什么？
How would you describe happiness?
梅子子乐呵呵，还有
Blissful, joyful,
啊，哈哈大笑，
laughing out
好
loud.
大笑什么？还有什么？
What else?
啊？笑哈，啊？笑哈，笑哈，笑哈，哭的时候笑哈。
When the great master is going through suffering, they laugh out loud. It sounds like a
乐
commercial
的时候哇哈哈，
slogan.
哭的时候香飘飘。啊，这样的就是他这里说啊，就是
So
这样
over
的
here,
教言的话
that's
呢，应该
the
具有这
teaching.
个哭了这个平等的这些嘎当派
And
的
over
这
here
个
it
修
says
行
that
人的这
this
个境
teaching
界，
really
他们
should
如
be
果
taught
传
by
的
the
话呢，
Kadampa
那别
masters
人看
who's
来也是
very
理所
life
当然的，
enacted
天
to
经
that
地义
sense of
自己也觉
equanimity.
得是应该有报了的。
And they, in fact,
如果像
have
我
such
这样的这个作
realization
者呢，
and
就是很
have
谦
such
虚的啊，就是
confidence
他说
to
这
give
像我
this
这样的
teaching.
人来讲解，
But
就是
if
苦
it's
转为道，
someone
乐
like
转
me
为
who
道用，
explains
这样
it,
写出
then
来
I'm
的话呢，
sure
那
that
恐怕
even
连
my
自己的
own
色度
tongue
也
is
会
going
吃
to
笑
get。fed up and cringe
因
with
为色度是最
embarrassment.
了解自己的，就是
Because
他
the
都不敢
tongue is
出
in
口啊，
fact
就
the
这个人
most
一点境
familiar
界都
with
没
you,
有，怎
with
么
who
会
you
是
really
还要
are.
去说这么多的大话？就是不要说
If the
别人，
tongue
就
knows
连
that
自己
this
最近
person's
的
realization
自己的
is
这种
only
舌头
like
都是可
this,
能讥笑我，就
then
是他都是
the
觉得不好
tongue
意
would
思的。
laugh
这
at
是一
the
种
person who's
一种
talking
修饰
about
很
it.
好吧？就是
This
藏
is,
传佛
I
教
think
当中
this is
经常有
really
这样，
a
本来色度都是
linguistic
他也没有什么罪，他自己笑
method
呢，
of
就是没办法的。但是这是一种
of
拟人的这种
describing
术化吧，就是就
it's a
连自己的舌
metaphor
头都会笑我，可能会我们这个汉文当中有时
to
候也
get that
会
idea
会有的，
across.
就是如果达到
I think
这
in
些达
different
到们
languages,
讲的
I'm
话
sure
呢，那这是
there
这他都
are
觉得是应该是可以
linguistic
的，
methods
就
to
可能
describe it as
我也
well.
是这样的吧，就是如果你们当中
I
有
think
一
I
些
my-
修行人
I
讲的话
myself
呢，
is
大家都觉得是应该
the
是
same.
很好
I
的。
feel
我这
embarrassed
样
to
讲的
talk
话呢，
about
就
it
是一点呢
because
不需要哭了装为道用都没有
I
的
think
话
I
那可能我
don't
自己的
ex-
色
I
度
don't
但是啊这色度
practice,
我
I
没有
don't
听到他在笑
transform
这个
suffering and
可能他
happiness
是接受了
into the into enlightenment
但这个那
as
这样为什么你这样就
as
是
it
这
is
么担心呢？为
described.
什么
So
造
I
这
think
个
many
论
of
点
you
呢？
probably
但
would
像
laugh
维
at
脑
me,
就
and then
是
my
自
tongue
己
would
呢，
get
就是
embarrassed
主要是这个
listening
自
to
己
me
的这
talking talking about
拼
it.
习世间八法，这是一个
Still, with the
尽
sole
量的
aim of
我们也
making
尽
one
量
taste
我们
of
去
all the
学啊，我们
worldly
去阅读啊，
preoccupations,
这样的话呢，可能会有
my
这个
second
自己的
nature,
这
I,
种世
the
间八
old
法
beggar
这种
Tenpe
拼习，
Nyima,
这是一个方面。还有一个呢，就是
have
种下一些善根
written
习气
this
吧。
here in the forest of many birds. So in order to plant this, or in order to cultivate this positive habitual pattern, therefore, Tenpe Nyima, the old man, old beggar, have written this. And the forest of many birds is probably located somewhere in Qinghai province, that's north from here, and it's probably somewhere that's close to where Bongsu Rinpoche was born as well. There are quite a few holy sites around that area. Well, as I said earlier, this is translated during the pandemic. I think this is also a spirit of transforming suffering and happiness into enlightenment. And now I conclude the teaching of this Dharma.
Jubum